The screen glowed in the dim light of his bedroom, casting shadows on the posters of rock bands plastered across the walls. At 16, Riley Thompson sat hunched over his computer in suburban Chicago, his heart racing as he typed into the gay chat room for the first time, desperate for connection in a world that felt suffocatingly straight. "Hey, anyone out there feeling like the only one?" he messaged, and within seconds, a reply popped up from someone called Benji92. "Yeah, man. Small-town Texas here. Feels like I'm hiding in plain sight." Riley's fingers flew across the keyboard, spilling out stories of high school bullies who tossed slurs like confetti and parents who preached traditional values every Sunday at church. Ben, whose real name was Benjamin Hayes, shared his own nightmares. A father who was a local pastor, railing against sins of the flesh from the pulpit, and a mother who monitored his every move, convinced video games were the devil's gateway. They bonded over shared secrets, late-night confessions turning into inside jokes and dreams of escaping to big cities where they could be themselves. For months, their chats were a lifeline, evolving from awkward hellos to deep discussions about identity, fear, and the faint hope of love. Riley imagined Ben's face, based on the grainy photo Ben had shared, as kind and mischievous, with freckles across his nose and a smile that promised adventure. But life intruded. One evening, Riley's dad burst into his room, demanding to know why he was always online. In a panic, Riley slammed the laptop shut, but it was too late. His father had glimpsed the chat window. "What the hell is this?" he bellowed, his face turning red. The argument escalated into a full-blown family crisis, with his parents dragging him to counseling sessions where a therapist nodded sympathetically while suggesting he explore healthier outlets. Riley deleted his account that night, terrified of the fallout, and never logged back in. He threw himself into school, sports, anything to prove he was normal, burying the part of him that had found solace in Ben's words. Years passed and Riley reinvented himself. He came out in college, surrounded by supportive friends in the liberal bubble of New York University. Graduating with a degree in business, he climbed the corporate ladder at a tech firm in San Francisco, becoming a hiring manager known for his sharp instincts and fair judgments. At 32, he was out and proud, with a circle of friends who celebrated Pride with him every June. But echoes of that teenage isolation lingered, making him cautious in relationships, always wondering if true connection was possible without the anonymity of a screen. Meanwhile, Ben's path was rockier. After their chats ended abruptly, Ben assuming Riley had ghosted him, he spiraled into self-doubt. His father's sermons grew more pointed, as if sensing his son's internal struggle. At 18, Ben fled to Austin for college, majoring in graphic design, where he finally explored his sexuality in underground clubs and quiet dorm room hookups. But coming out to his family shattered everything. His father disowned him, calling it a choice against God. And his mother, torn between love and faith, sent sporadic checks with notes begging him to repent. Ben built a life from scratch, freelancing as a designer, but the rejection fueled a fire in him to advocate for LGBTQ rights, volunteering at local shelters and speaking at events about the toll of religious homophobia. Now, at 30, Ben was applying for a senior designer position at Innovatech in San Francisco, a company renowned for its inclusive culture. His portfolio was stellar, blending creativity with social commentary, designs for Pride campaigns that had gone viral. As he prepared for the interview, he felt a mix of excitement and nerves, unaware that the man across the table would unravel threads from his past. Riley scanned the resume on his desk. Benjamin Hayes, impressive credentials, a portfolio link that showcased bold, emotive work. The name tugged at something deep in his memory, but he brushed it off as coincidence. When Ben walked into the conference room, dressed in a crisp button-down that accentuated his broad shoulders, Riley froze. Those freckles, that easy smile, it was him. Benji92, Riley whispered under his breath, his professional facade cracking for a split second. Ben extended his hand, oblivious at first. "Hi, I'm Ben Hayes. Thanks for the opportunity." As their eyes met, recognition dawned like a slow sunrise. "Riley? From the chat room?" Ben's voice was barely audible, laced with shock and a hint of old hurt. Riley nodded, forcing a smile. Yeah, small world. The interview proceeded, but the air was thick with unspoken questions. Riley asked about Ben's experience, his inspirations, all while his mind raced. Should he recuse himself? Disclose their history? The company's policy on conflicts of interest was clear, but this wasn't a romance. It was a faded teenage connection. Yet, as Ben passionately described a project advocating for queer youth, Riley felt a pull, a reminder of the boy who'd once made him feel seen. By the end, Riley was torn. Ben was perfect for the job, but hiring him could spark rumors, questions about favoritism. And what about the personal stakes? That night, Riley paced his apartment, replaying their old chats in his head. Fate had thrown them together again, but at what cost? The next day, Riley sat in his office, staring at Ben's application file. He hadn't slept, his mind a whirlwind of ethics and emotion. As a hiring manager, he'd always prided himself on impartiality, but this felt different. He decided to proceed cautiously, scheduling a second interview with the team to diffuse any potential bias. It's just business, he told himself, but deep down he knew it wasn't. Ben, meanwhile, was reeling. After the interview, he'd rushed home to his modest apartment in the Mission District, scrolling through old emails in vain for traces of their chats. Why did you disappear? He'd wanted to ask, but professionalism held him back. Now, with a callback, excitement mixed with trepidation. Was this a second chance, or a recipe for disaster? He confided in his best friend, Mia, a fellow activist. It's him, Mia. The guy who ghosted me when I needed him most. Mia raised an eyebrow. And now he's your potential boss? That's messy. What if he holds a grudge, or worse, what if there's still something there? The second interview went smoothly. Ben charmed the team with his ideas for rebranding Innovateca's diversity initiatives, drawing on his experiences with homophobia in Texas. Riley watched from the sidelines, nodding approvingly, but inside, conflict brewed. After the panel, he pulled Ben aside. We need to talk about us. They stepped into a quiet lounge, the city skyline buzzing below. Ben crossed his arms. Yeah, we do. You vanished without a word. I thought we had something real. Riley explained the family blow-up, the forced therapy, the shame that silenced him. I was scared, Ben. I wasn't ready. Ben's expression softened, but hurt lingered. I get it, but it wrecked me. My family was already a nightmare. Losing you made it worse. They talked for hours, bridging the lost years. Riley's smooth coming out in college, Ben's painful disownment. A tentative friendship rekindled, laced with unresolved tension. Riley offered Ben the job, citing his qualifications, but the decision sparked whispers in the office. Colleague Sarah pulled him aside. I heard you two knew each other. Is that why he got it? Riley denied favoritism, but doubt crept in. Ben started strong, his designs injecting fresh energy into projects. But proximity amplified their chemistry. Casual coffees turned into deep conversations about societal pressures on gay men, from toxic masculinity to the expectation of perfection. Conflicts arose. Ben pushed for bolder campaigns addressing intersectional issues, like queer people of color facing double discrimination, but upper management resisted, calling it too political. Riley, caught between loyalty to the company and agreement with Ben, mediated awkwardly. One heated meeting escalated when Ben accused the execs of performative allyship. You wave rainbow flags in June, but ignore real struggles year-round. Riley supported him subtly, but later, in private, warned, tone it down, or you'll get sidelined. Ben bristled. Is that the boss talking? Or the guy who once shared my fears? Their dynamic shifted, professional boundaries blurring. Riley felt the weight of power imbalance. As Ben's superior, any deeper connection could be seen as exploitation. Society's scrutiny on gay relationships added layers, whispers of drama queens or assumptions of instability. Ben, still healing from familial rejection, questioned if Riley's caution was genuine or a repeat of abandonment. A turning point came during a company retreat in Napa Valley. Amid team-building exercises, Riley and Ben found themselves paired for a hike. As they climbed, conversations turned personal. "I've dated, but nothing sticks," Riley admitted. "Always waiting for the other shoe to drop." Ben nodded. "Same. My dad's voice echoes. It's a phase. Makes trust hard." At the summit, overlooking vineyards, Ben reached for Riley's hand. "What if we try?" Carefully, Riley pulled away. "I can't. Not like this. It'd look like nepotism." Hurt flashed in Ben's eyes. "So, you're choosing the job over us, again?" The retreat ended tensely, their rapport strained. Back in the office, Ben threw himself into work, but resentment built. He overheard colleagues gossiping. Ben only got the gig because he's Riley's old flame. It fueled his insecurity, leading to a confrontation. "Did you hire me out of pity?" Ben demanded in Riley's office. Riley shook his head. "No, because you're talented. But it's complicating everything." They agreed to keep distance, but the emotional toll mounted. Riley questioned his choices. Had he prioritized career over heart? Ben wondered if fighting societal norms was worth the personal cost. As months passed, a major project loomed, a campaign for mental health in the LGBTQ community. Ben led the design, pouring his soul into it, but clashed with Riley over direction. "Make it edgier," Ben insisted. "Show the real pain." Riley pushed back. "We need buy-in from stakeholders." The argument exposed deeper rifts. Riley's assimilationist approach versus Ben's radical advocacy. The mental health campaign became a battleground for their ideologies. Ben envisioned raw visuals, silhouettes against stormy skies symbolizing isolation, captions quoting real stories of rejection. "This could save lives," he argued in a team huddle. Riley, mindful of the company's conservative clients, suggested toning it down. "Softer colors, uplifting messages. We want inspiration, not confrontation." The team sided with Riley, leaving Ben feeling marginalized. "You're sanitizing our pain," he whispered to Riley later. "Just like society does." The friction spilled into their personal lives. Riley attended a networking event where industry leaders praised Innovateka's inclusive but professional image. One exec joked, "Keep the activists in check, eh?" Riley laughed politely, but it gnawed at him. Ben, invited to speak at a queer rights rally, called out corporate pinkwashing. Companies profiting off pride without real change. His speech went viral, tagging Innovatek subtly. Management wasn't amused. Riley got pulled into a meeting. "Handle your hire," his boss said. "We don't need controversy." Riley confronted Ben in the break room. "That speech. Did you have to drag the company into it?" Ben fired back. "I'm not hiding who I am for a paycheck. Unlike some." The words stung, echoing Riley's teenage suppression. Their argument drew stares, fueling office rumors. Sarah, the colleague, filed an informal complaint. "Their personal history is affecting team morale." HR got involved, mandating mediation. In the sterile conference room, with a neutral facilitator, truths poured out. Riley admitted his fear of rocking the boat. "I fought to get here. I can't risk it all." Ben countered, "And I fought to be authentic. Hiding cost me my family." The session unearthed old wounds, the chat room ghosting now seen as Riley's survival tactic, Ben's hurt as unresolved trauma. They left with a truce. Professional only, no more personal talks. But emotions don't compartmentalize easily. Riley started dating casually, a finance guy named Mark, to distract himself. Ben threw himself into activism, organizing workshops on queer mental health. Yet, glances lingered in meetings, unspoken regrets hanging heavy. A societal debate erupted nationally. A Supreme Court case on workplace discrimination against LGBTQ employees. Ben rallied the office to sign a petition supporting protections. Riley hesitated, citing company neutrality. "This isn't politics. It's our rights," Ben pleaded. Riley's indecision sparked a blow-up. "You're complicit in the system that hurt us," Ben yelled in the parking lot after work. Riley snapped. And you're reckless, risking jobs for ideals. Passers-by stared, amplifying the drama. That night, Riley confided in his sister who lived in Chicago. He's right, but so am I. Society forces us to choose. Blend in or stand out. She advised. Maybe find middle ground. The campaign launched mildly to mixed reviews. Critics called it safe but superficial, validating Ben's concerns. Ben considered quitting, applying elsewhere, but a personal crisis hit. His mother reached out, diagnosed with cancer, begging reconciliation. I miss my son, she wrote. Ben, torn, shared with Riley impulsively. She wants the old me back. Riley, softening, offered support. Go see her. Family matters, even flawed ones. Ben flew to Texas, confronting his past. His mother, frail in her hospital bed, apologized tearfully. I was wrong. Love is love. His father, absent, sent a terse note. Praying for you. The visit stirred Ben's resolve. Change is possible, but incremental. Back in San Francisco, he thanked Riley. You were right about balance. Their walls cracked, leading to a cautious coffee. Not as boss and employee, but old friends. However, ethics loomed. Riley's boss discovered their history through HR notes. This could be seen as a conflict. One of you might need to transfer. Riley faced a choice. Defend their dynamic or prioritize his career. Ben, sensing the pressure, offered to leave. I don't want to cost you everything. Riley refused. We both deserve to be here. Tensions peaked at the annual company gala. Dressed in tuxes, they navigated the event awkwardly. Mark, Riley's date, noticed the chemistry. Old flame, he asked jealously. Ben overheard, storming off. Outside, under city lights, they finally hashed it out. I never stopped caring, Riley confessed. But power dynamics. Society judges us harsher. Ben nodded. I know. Gay men aren't allowed mess-ups. They agreed to therapy separately to unpack it all. But the gala incident fueled more gossip, leading to a board review. Riley prepared a statement. Their connection predated employment. No favoritism occurred. Ben backed him, but doubts persisted. Was their reunion fate or folly? The board review dragged on, a microscope on their lives. Riley and Ben testified separately, recounting their teenage chats, lost contact, and coincidental reunion. No impropriety, Riley insisted. His hire was merit-based. Ben echoed. Our past didn't influence my work, skeptics probed. But emotional ties could bias decisions. It highlighted societal biases. Straight colleagues with spousal connections faced no scrutiny. But gay men? Assumptions of drama prevailed. Publicly, the story leaked anonymously to a tech blog. Innovatech hiring scandal. Boss's old chatroom buddy gets plum job. Comments exploded. Some defended as harmless reunion. Others cried nepotism in rainbow wrapping. Ben's activism drew fire. Radical hire stirring trouble. Riley faced backlash. Weak leadership caving to personal feelings. Social media amplified divisions, with queer advocates praising their authenticity, conservatives decrying woke agendas. Personally, it eroded them. Riley broke up with Mark, who accused him of lingering feelings. Sorted out before dating. Ben's therapy sessions revealed patterns. Abandonment fears from family and Riley's ghosting. I pushed too hard to prove I'm worthy. Riley's sessions uncovered assimilation guilt. I hid to succeed. Now I hide feelings. They avoided each other at work, but necessity forced collaboration on a follow-up campaign. During a late-night session, alone in the office, barriers crumbled. This scrutiny, it's because we're gay, Ben said. Straight folks get passes. Riley agreed. Society expects us to be flawless or villains. Vulnerability led to honesty. I regret disappearing back then. Ben forgave. We were kids. A hug lingered, but they pulled back, aware of cameras and consequences. The board cleared them, with caveats. Mandatory ethics training, no direct supervision. Riley was relieved but resentful. We jumped through hoops others don't. Ben channeled anger into advocacy, proposing an internal policy on personal connections. Make it fair for everyone. Management approved, turning scandal into progress. But peace was fleeting. Ben's mother's health declined. He took leave to care for her in Texas. Distance amplified longing. They texted supportively, but Ben's updates stirred Riley's protectiveness. She's accepting me now, Ben wrote. Thanks to you pushing me. Riley visited impulsively, flying down for a weekend. At the hospital, Ben's mother grasped his hand. You too, friends. Riley smiled. Old ones. The visit deepened their bond, but Texas's conservative vibe reminded them of risks. Stares from locals. Ben's father's cold shoulder. Back home, a new conflict. Innovatech landed a client with anti-LGBTQ ties, a Midwestern firm known for donating to conversion therapy groups. Ben refused to work on it. It's blood money. Riley, assigned to oversee, pleaded, it's business. We can influence from inside. The clash went public when Ben leaked concerns to activists, sparking boycotts. Traitor, some called him. Riley's boss demanded discipline. Fire him or lose credibility. Riley faced the ultimate choice. Loyalty to company or principles. He confronted Ben. You undermined us. Ben retorted. No, I stood up, like you should have years ago. The argument escalated, echoing their teenage fears. Abandonment versus authenticity. Riley suspended Ben pending review, heartbroken. This hurts more than ghosting. Ben, jobless temporarily, doubled down on activism, speaking at conferences about corporate hypocrisy. Media painted him as the rebel, Riley as the sellout. Friends divided. Some sided with Ben's integrity, others with Riley's pragmatism. Riley questioned everything. Had hiring Ben been selfish? Society's lens distorted it all. Gay relationships under perpetual suspicion. In solitude, Riley reflected on their journey. From hidden teens to conflicted adults, navigating a world that demanded they fit molds. He reached out. I was wrong. Let's talk. Ben agreed, meeting at a neutral cafe. We both chose poorly, Ben admitted. I sabotaged. You conformed. Reconciliation tentative. They pondered futures. Could they separate work and heart? The suspension lifted with conditions. Ben returned, but transferred departments. Distance helped professionalism, but emotions simmered. A national shift occurred. The Supreme Court ruled for LGBTQ protections, validating Ben's fight. Celebrations ensued, but personally, they tiptoed around feelings. At a pride event, amid crowds, they shared a moment. What now? Ben asked. Riley, friends first. See where it goes. But workplace policies loomed, society judging every step. Months after the suspension, Innovatech stabilized, but scars remained. Ben thrived in his new role, leading diversity training that incorporated their ordeal as a case study, anonymized, of course. Riley advanced to director, his decisions now infused with Ben's influence. Bolder inclusivity pushes, rejecting problematic clients. Professionally, they complemented each other, but personally, caution prevailed. Society's gaze through media, colleagues, even friends, made openness risky. One wrong move and we're tabloid fodder, Riley noted during a rare lunch. Their bond evolved slowly, therapy helping navigate power shifts. Ben's mother recovered partially, her acceptance a beacon. Family dinners now included Riley as the friend from work. Ben's father remained distant, a reminder of unresolved societal divides. Riley's family, long supportive, encouraged, don't let fear win again. A new challenge arose. A competitor poached Ben with a higher offer, heading their social impact team. It's tempting, Ben confided. More freedom to advocate. Riley felt panic. Losing him twice? Go if it's right, he said, masking hurt. But Ben hesitated. What about us? The question hung, forcing confrontation. In Riley's apartment over takeout, they laid it bare. I love you, Riley admitted. Always have, since the chat room. Ben reciprocated. Me too. But love in shadows sucks. They decided to try, Ben declining the offer to stay. But transparency was key, disclosing to HR, ensuring no direct reporting. Reactions varied, support from allies, side eyes from skeptics. A colleague quipped, "Finally official? About time." But external pressures mounted. A conservative think tank targeted Innovatech, claiming gay agenda favoritism. Protests ensued, emails flooded. Ben and Riley became unwilling symbols in culture wars. Highs balanced lows. Shared weekends in wine country, advocacy events hand in hand. Yet, doubts crept. Ben wondered if Riley's caution stemmed from shame. Riley feared Ben's boldness invited chaos. A pivotal argument erupted after a dinner party where friends debated assimilation versus activism. "We need both," Riley said. Ben disagreed. "Assimilation is surrender." Hurt words flew. "You're still hiding. You're reckless." They took space, Ben crashing with Mia. Reflection hit. Their choices mirrored societal fractures, internalized homophobia clashing with defiant pride. Reuniting, they compromised. Riley joined a rally, Ben attended a corporate summit. Balance forged resilience. Years blended into routine, their story inspiring others. At 35, they co-authored an op-ed on workplace romances in queer contexts, sparking debates. Ethical minefields or human rights? Innovatech flourished, becoming a model for inclusion. But fate twisted one final time. Riley got a promotion offer in New York, heading a new division. "It's my dream," he said. Ben, rooted in San Francisco activism, faced a choice. Follow or let go. Long distance, Ben suggested. Riley shook his head. "We've lost too much time already." Tears flowed. "Stay for us?" Ben countered. "Or come with me?" The decision loomed, encapsulating their saga. From digital sparks to real-world flames, navigated through societal storms. They chose together. Ben relocated, starting a nonprofit branch in NYC. Their move symbolized hope, but not without sacrifice. Leaving friends, adapting to East Coast conservatism. In their new apartment overlooking Central Park, they reflected on the journey. "Worth it?" Riley asked. Ben smiled. Every conflict, every choice, their love, hard won, stood as testament to perseverance. Yet questions lingered. Had their reunion amplified or alleviated societal wounds? In the end, one ponders. Was it ethical for Riley to hire Ben, knowing their past, or did fate justify the risk?